Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. I'd like to chat today about your legacy, how to create a legacy by telling your life story. And I want to start with a little adventure I went on yesterday, and it's really influenced my thinking about this topic and the importance of it. I was in Zurich with my family. My grandson Max was doing a theater production, and so I was there to watch. And it's in a very kind of out of the way part of Zurich, and there's a crematorium right near the theater. So I had half an hour when I got there to just kind of wander around. It was a beautiful day, but a bit rainy, but sparkly. It was gorgeous. And I went into the crematorium, and I was just amazed and astonished by the beauty of it. It was a huge area, like a big park, but it was completely overgrown in the sense that, I mean, you could see that someone had taken care of it, was looking at the vegetation and so on, but it wasn't manicured. It was just so natural. And there were people walking through, and there was a path that ran alongside it that people were running. It was just like a neighborhood place. It wasn't scary at all. And I walked in there, and it started to rain. I had my umbrella, but I was, just trying to take some pictures. I did do a little video on this, so you could look at the short video. But I realized, that this is a beautiful place to be after you're not here in this physical body anymore. And I didn't walk all the way into it. I'm going to go back and take some more pictures, but there is apparently a place where the ashes are stored in little, like books. And there's also a place where it's a graveyard in the back. But it's really, really pretty. And it made me think, this is where we are all going to end up one day. And it's okay. It's what it is. This is how life unfolds. But, maybe you haven't chosen a place where you want to be buried or placed. Maybe you've got a different idea about it, but I really felt this was, for me, a good place where it's a destination where people can come and, just sit with you and chat and read you a book or whatever. And I don't know, it just really struck me in a positive way. So the story today, though, is how you can tell your story before that and write it down or dictate it out or whatever you want to do. It's actually going to be in two different parts, and the first part probably will cover a number of questions that are useful, but this is part two, and it's going to be more questions that you can ask yourself that dig a bit deeper into the values of your life. The first one was about the chapters, childhood, adulthood, older adulthood, and whatever. But this is more about the values that have shaped you and who had the most significant impact on your life. Now, that's the first question. Who had the most significant impact during your early years? And how did they shape you? Next question is, what life experiences most profoundly impacted your beliefs and values? And by the way, I'll put this in the body of the video, so that you won't have to remember them all. But these are just some ideas, and you've probably got lots of good questions too. But the third one is, how did cultural or religious background influence your values? And then what books, movies, documentaries, travel experiences, impact and have an impact on your life. And I know for sure, when my mom died when I was about 18, and I went to Boulder, Colorado, and I lived there, went to school there. And 6 years getting through, I worked and went to school part-time, but I got my degree, but I actually was studying comparative religion. And as soon as I could, I made a trip to India because I was very interested in Indian culture and Indian religions, and not just Indian religions, but all religions, how they all were dealing with some pretty fundamental similarities and truths, but because the question of purpose and purpose on life, passions, how to live your life as a good person. Anyway, that's in the bottom line to me. India had this huge impact on me. I was there about 3 months, and I had no money. I wore sari. I went from place to place. I had, I think, $300, I think, which back then wasn't enough. But I stayed in hostels and ashrams, and it changed my life completely. So maybe you've got something like that changed your life dramatically. Now, how have you lived your life? And this is another whole set of questions about what decisions have you made that shaped your life, that took you one path or another. Those kinds of forks in the road that you have this way or that way. I've got one I'll tell you about in a second. But how did you met? That's the question. What were some of the key decisions you made in your career and your life? How did you handle major challenges or setbacks in your life? Could be physical, could be a medical issue, could be a family member dealing with some issues there. It could be, any number of things. But how did you handle those crises? Another question is describe, or how would you define your relationship with your family? And I'm talking about the broad family now, your parents, your grandparents, and then your own children, if you had them, grandchildren. What is your relationship with them? And I think another question, which is one to ask, it may take you off on a completely different route, but that is, in what ways did you prioritize you as an adult? And did you get to do the things that you wanted to do? Sort of what things did you want to do? How did you prioritize you in that midst of all the other things going on? I guess another category of questions is around principles. So what core principles drove your activities? And by the way, I should go back and tell you what my story was with the choices, because this is one that's so classic, and it's what happens when you get married, right? My husband and I had different offers. He had an offer to work for Microsoft, and we were living in Dallas at the time. He had an offer to go to Microsoft. I had an offer to manage a Barnes & Noble bookstore in Dallas. I had been in book selling for about 10 years of my life in Colorado, and I was passionate about books. And we decided that we would move to Seattle. And of course, I applied at Microsoft too, because I had the communication and marketing skills, and they hired me, and the rest for 20 years was history. But that kind of thing, did I do the right thing? I don't know. We ended up getting divorced, but would I have been happy in Dallas for that? I don't know. Who knows? But you make decisions, don't you? So now, guiding principles. So I think knowing what your guiding principles are, like for example, is honesty. It's a value, but it's also a principle that everything you do is going to be honest and truthful, and it's going to be focused on the good. Those are kind of my ones to start with, and compassion, caring about people. And what are your principles? And then can you ever? And then from that you could also continue the question: was there ever a situation in your life where you had to compromise those principles? And how did you handle it? That's a really tricky one. How did you cultivate resilience in these turbulent times that we're in? How did you cultivate resilience? What techniques did you use? How did you cope when you had things to deal with that were not easy, or even like things like divorce and separation and death? How did you cope? How did you get resilient? These are like not 1 minute question and answers, right? These are questions that you can write a book about. Maybe that's a part of the journey here, is to start one line, one sentence, and just write. What role did integrity and honesty, for example, play in your life? When I did a little survey of this once, and I said, what were your key values? And I think honesty came at the top, because if you can't trust somebody to tell the truth, everything else is impacted. But anyway, that's kind of the story of that. Hopes for the world. Okay, this is another one at the end of your life. You're approaching this point where you think, oh, I wish I'd done this, or I could have done that. And there may be causes that you really truly believe in. Whether it's animal welfare, homelessness, climate change, sustainability, whatever it could be. What are the passions that you have, and how are you going to help to contribute to either awareness or to promote something that's important to you? And I guess the question then is, how do you think that the future generation is going to handle these challenges that we've been through? Maybe maybe it'll be a whole bunch of different challenges, like artificial intelligence, or the robotics, or things that are really going to impact our world. And despite my use of those things and my passion for their value, because I've seen huge value in the way my children are educating the grandkids, the way that I talk to them. We've learned so much using artificial intelligence that it's a scary path forward. But I'm on two sides at the moment. So I think another thing you can mention in your story is your accomplishments. Things that you've done, things that you did well, things that you're proud of. Write those down too. Yes, you're going to probably write a couple of regrets in there, but that's okay too. Regrets are part of life, and we will make mistakes. So that might be a good thing to do too. But most importantly, what are you proud of? What have you done that you think is really cool? Okay, everybody. Well, look, I want to leave you here with those thoughts. I will actually copy this. I got little notes here. I'll put them in the body of the description underneath the video, because then you can go back and look at the questions and see what you think. Because I know that you didn't have time to write. I was talking a little fast. So have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope that this has been useful in trying to help you to shape a legacy which you're proud of and which you articulate so that your family, friends can enjoy it and learn. It can be a video. You could do this like I'm doing. No one cares. Really, it's your family or friends. They know what you look like. Or it could be just a written document or dictated, whichever. But do something. I think that'd be a good mission for the rest of the year. See if you can get it done by December. Okay? My mission, homework from Margaret. All right, take good care, everybody. Have a fabulous day. Lots and lots of love. Bye for now.